Alright. So where we last left off is we're in the big scary
No
city
problem.
now. So let's see what we need to do. World map. Let's see what's up. Let's take a look at our journal, I guess. Oh, we got temple. Let's pass. Find the ruins. Endurance. Okay, whatever. So pretty much a free for all. So let's take a little bit of a peek-a-loo around here. See what's going on. This painting depicts a famous scene from The Light of Dawn in which the traveler and the ghost happen upon a starving man. That old chestnut. Alright. So, got a little bit of Crucible Night, bunch of stuff there. Okay. Alright. Okay, don't have the key for that, and it doesn't look like I'm going to find it easily there, so let's move on. Okay. Oh, okay. Well, let's level up Eder. Well, stealth's not really his strong suit. You know, survival is kind of attractive. Well, let's go ahead and throw a point in there because, you know, when you rest, it gives you the option of these bonuses. You know, when you rest, like at a campfire. So that's nice. As for, I got 3 points. You know, I'm just gonna hang on to him because I don't think, other than his athletics, he doesn't really have anything high enough level to really outpace anybody else in the party. So, okay, I've already picked one of the weapon specializations for him, I believe. I believe I took Warrior, which gives him shield or something like that. Anyway, so we have the fighter lunges through the battle, pulling enemy into immediate melee range, causing crush damage and leaving them dazed. That's kind of cool. Then we got new stance. Lowers accuracy, increases deflection of nearby allies. That's nice. So you're kind of blocking for your friends. Discipline barrage. Fighter intensely focuses on his or her training, simply raising accuracy for swimming. Okay. Confident aim. Vigorous defense. Fighter becomes fiercely determined to fight all incoming blows as a defense for 15 seconds. Yeah, alright. So, alright. That's good.
Yeah.
Alright. What have we here? Okay. That's obviously theft. Spill tea, empty pots, and one detailed sketch of a fire-breathing old dwarf is all that remains of a long study session.
How do you do?
By Whale's eyeless face, you're one short ogre. But why are you green? And how are you getting the ducks to keep flying around you like that? So let me choose my survival skill. Let me guess, you smoked a lot of white leaf, or did you get your hands on some snowcap? He claps his hands and laughs. Snowcap, snowcap. So few people know snowcap, much less ogres. He beams at you and nods his head. You're a, scrivener? He nods. Yes, I am a scrivener. I read books, I write books. I once ate a book, but only because it looked like sweet pie. Or perhaps it was sweet pie baked to look like a book. Interesting. Oh, I'm also a collector of herbs, flowers, plants. I sell them. Mostly I eat them. Tell me about the dormitory. It's where the scriveners who work at the Hall of the Revealed Mysteries sleep. I'm a scrivener. He sniffs. This place smells like old stockings. Show me what you have for sale. Ah, haha, snowcap. Remove snowcap. Crash. Oh god. The snowcap mushrooms are known to be dangerous, for improperly treated samples are akin to poison. Once properly prepared, however, they can propel individuals into a trance-like state in which, it is claimed, many have received visions and portents of significance. The mushrooms feature primarily in the important Glanfathan rituals, for their elders hold the secrets behind their safe use. Snowcap. See what this dude is otherwise. Wonder if I can interest him in some crap. Some delicious crap. I have plenty of that. Let's see. That's good. Alright. Why does everybody say it smells like old stockings? This doesn't make any sense.
Adair, you have said you fought in the Saints' War, but for which side?
The one that blew up my god.
I didn't mean anything by it. I imagine a man with a head made of fire and light would be very convincing.
Funny thing about Dear Woodens. With all that fire and light, they just treated him like another authority figure.
Uh-oh. I'm looking for the Temple of Utica. Huh? If you say so. Said First Fires. Just west of Crucible Keep. Let's get in there. 15 minutes. Who's this asshole? It's a Justicar. Huh. Ducal Parlors. Valiant Embassy. Oh. Looks like that's what I'm looking for. These guys. Mobile commoner. The stones of this ancient tower have been blackened by centuries-old fires, surrounded by a patch of wildflowers. Come on.
Hey.
It looks like a memorial. I don't know if I feel like reaching out and touching these guys to see their past. I don't want to just get to the Temple of Wodigo.
This would be the temple Merwald spoke of, or what remains of it.
Alright. Okay, so there's a haint right there.
Praise to the exiled queen. May her crown be restored and her justice prevail.
So this is spook you just dealt me,
Come to
son.
pay your respects to the queen that was.
Ghost hovers in the middle of the ruin, reciting blessings and prayers. Even as the spirit's form shifts and swirls, it retains the face of an elderly man, and robes mark that wealth and status. It turns to you. Say, I was told I'd find the Temple of Vodka here.
And so you did. These savage colonists may have burned it down, but worship of the Oathbinder is alive and well. These stairs lead to the main sanctum.
What stairs?
These stairs, of course. The sanctum was always below ground, adjacent to the catacombs, so it wasn't destroyed by the fires.
Tell me where I'd find an entrance to these catacombs.
There are various entrances throughout Defiance Bay, but I dare say the easiest to reach is in Copper Lane. I haven't been to that part of town in ages, but as I recall, it's somewhere near the southern gate.
Okay. It's truly a pity to see what the locals have done to Wodika's house of worship. Who are you?
Lord Ardwellen Rugform III, and pleased to make your acquaintance. I came to the Deerwood on one of the first ships from Adia, and unlike the yokels and hut dwellers around here, I still keep to the old ways.
You know what that means. What are you doing?
Worshipping Wodika, the exiled queen and oathbinder. I come every day to offer my devotion. I'd love nothing more than to book passage back to Adia, but it is my emperor's wish that I serve in these barbaric lands. And so I do.
He shrugs. I'd like to know more about Wodika.
A queen among the gods. She oversees laws and oaths. Everything has a rightful place, and Wodika watches over them all.
Wodika. God, Jesus.
Of course, not everyone accepts this. Even among the other gods, her authority is questioned. But Wodika is also goddess of memory and vengeance, and she remembers. She'll remember every slight and trespass when she reclaims her throne.
You know you're a ghost, right?
I beg your pardon? Is this some sort of joke where you come from?
I'm serious. Just look at yourself.
A madhouse. That's what this town really needs.
Oh yeah, bye.
Eh?
Oh, impassable pile of rubble. My dearest friend. Oh hell, why not? Let's read one. Let's read these guys. You see this man, much younger, lying on a large stone slab situated on a die in the center of a circular room. At 7 points around the die, older men in black robes prostrate themselves over ornate runes worked into the stone of the floor, chanting in a low drone. An 8th man enters, carrying an ebony box, inlaid with golden runes that match the runes on the floor. He stands at the head of the slab, lowers his head, and slowly opens the box. He turns to each prostrate man in turn, tipping the open box in their direction as he does. He then sets the box at the head of the slab, facing away from the young man lying there. He reaches into the box, removing a small cylinder of onyx, and then moves to the end of the slab, stopping near the young man's feet. He holds the onyx up, says a word, and then presses it against the young man's right foot. When it touches his flesh, the onyx softens and becomes a black leech, attaching itself to the young man's soul. The man repeats these steps until there are leeches on both hands and feet, in the middle of the chest, his neck, and his forehead. The older man then takes his place at the head of the slab, raising his hands and joining the chanting, watching the young man as his blood drains. You see a dimly lit street lined with buildings. Most of them are dark and quiet, but one at the edge of a canal is bright and noisy, defying the night. This Amua stands in the dark, huddled against the cold of the shadows, keeping away from everything. He stares at the door of the lit building, intently studying it. There's a sign hanging on the side of the building. It is barely legible in the dark, but it appears to read Goose and Fox. Movement from inside the building perks the Amua up. He pulls his cloak closer around his face and his breath speeds up, catching slightly. His excitement is palpable. The main door to the establishment opens, releasing a cacophony of laughter and shouting. Light spills out onto the streets, illuminating a solitary figure in the doorway. The Amua stands, bringing his right hand up in front of his face, palm down, fingers extended. The figure exits Goose and Fox and stumbles off into the darkness, swaying slightly as it walks unsteadily down the street. The Amua follows the figure, muttering a few words under his breath and gently wiggling his hand. The tips of his fingers start glowing lightly, steam rising from them against the cold air. He increases his pace, intent on catching the figure and disappearing into the night. He shakes his hand once more, and the tips of his fingers burst into flame, the flickering light revealing a manic glee in his eyes. He closes on the figure, nearly hyperventilating with happiness, and whispers a name, Caron. The figure jumps slightly and begins to turn as the Amua extends his hand, leveling his fingers directly at the figure. You know. Alright, let's double time it. Yeah. Copper Lane. Near the old South Gate. Okay. I mean, one has to imagine that's where he's talking about. This guy. I don't know about old Skinflint. You see an older dwarf counting coins behind a grimy shop window, hair limp with grease and sweat, a sneer playing around the edges of his pinched mouth. The bargains of the day lie scattered across the table, from tarnished tawdry jewelry to an acid-encrusted dagger lying precariously near the edge. His half nose twitches in anticipation as a customer enters. A disheveled young noble, once white, doublet stained with a life gone wrong. Eyes dart behind him, searching for pursuit before he dumps the contents of his Hessian bag on the table. The dwarf leans forward, fingers flicking through the silverware and assorted goblets. He shakes his head emphatically, sneer fully settled, shoving the item back at the man. The man pleads, begs, eyes rolling panicked in their sockets, asking for something, anything, a few silvers. The dwarf leers and tosses 3 copper pans on the table. Desperate, the young noble tears a signet ring from his finger, to the dwarf's ill-concealed delight. A few more coins go into the pile, and the defeated man, swearing stitches under his breath, exits the shop. Venerable dwarf grins at his good fortune, picking food out of his 2 sharp teeth as he examines his haul. Gotta examine that haul now. And get up in it. As you approach the dead man, you can feel the faint traces of his soul lingering, a stunned uncertainty holding it in place. When you hear, without warning, the soul hurries towards you, as though you were a solitary light in the dank gloom of this place come to usher it away. Its essence invades your consciousness. You are in a different body now, walking deeper into the catacombs, cloaked in a dark robe with a mask pulled over your face. You're following a familiar path along the canal, headed to a room built around a statue of a figure wearing a robe much like yours. Others wait, clothed in hoods and shadows. Ahead is another figure dressed like you, traveling in the same direction. You don't know his name, and that's how it's supposed to be. Out of the darkness, something monstrous grabs the other figure. You turn to flee, but find yourself face to face with a troll. The panic pounding through your brain is interrupted by razor-edged teeth and claws. You snap yourself out of the dead man's memory. The corpse lies on the damp and grimy ground. His hood and mask are missing, and his clothes are shredded.
Yeah.
I guess we have an idea what's gonna be waiting for us.
Let's. Let's.
Yes, let's.
What?
Oh yeah.
Eh?
Eh?
Sure.
Alright. You know. Sure.
And what does the flame reveal?
Nothing. Some money. Peridot. Peridot. Oh. Ah, these oozes. They so crazy.
Let's.
Heck yeah. Get in there.
No problem.
Hey, there he is. Alright. Let me back him off a touch here. I'm gonna fire
There's a lesson to be taught.
Let's go.
I mean, you can certainly take a punch, you know. Doesn't like magic. There we go. Sweet. Alright. Okay. That lore. Okay. Ah, there we go. Level 3 spells. I already have Fireball, which is cool. So, what do I want now? What is this? 7-3 must pierce through the target. Oh, yes. I'll take that. And, you know, I'm gonna be a jackass and... I don't know, that might be a little stupid. Hold on. Terrified. Arcane Dampener creates a nullifying field of antagonistic magical energy around the chosen point, suppressing all beneficial effect on enemies in the area of effect. Huh. I'm gonna slow time, that's kinda cool. Yeah, alright. That's what I'm talking about, so...
How may I help?
Oh yes, that's gonna be awesome. Okay. He's got some more going on for him too. Yep. Class unlocks. Oh, nice. Oh wow, okay. Creates a large zone of divine shelter, granting all this. Oh, nice. I will do use that. And one. Oh, that's. I remember that one. Right. Restore moderate endurance, which is really awesome. Plus 29.1 endurance. That's really good. Warding seal. Magical seal explodes at burst. Yeah. Watchful presence. Blessed zealous at aid of a sympathetic soul roast. A healing effect when their endurance is slow. Oh, that's nice. Alright, so some pretty good stuff there. Let's see what Kana gets.
Following your lead.
Oh, yeah, whatever. Okay. Lore. Yeah, alright. Let's see. Decrease reload time, decrease speed of range attacks. Increase the duration of and defends against frightened and terrified effects. I'll keep it just. I will go ahead with that. It's like one of those things that really sucks when you get hit by. Yeah, not that. There we go. Okay. Alright, well, checked out that room. Let's
Sure.
go across the hall here and. Oh my god. Stealth. Come on. Oh boy.
Aye?
Seems fair to me.
Aztec.
I did somewhat enjoy that. I won't lie. Okay, so yes. This is gonna get interesting. So I'm gonna go ahead and drop that on them boys. We them boys.
Following you.
Let's go ahead and slow this down a bit too. Okay. Yeah, I mean. And then I'm gonna go out by. I didn't want everybody to.
That's it.
Let's go.
Damn it.
Let's go.
Okay. No. Okay, so at this point.
Lava. That's it.
Let's see, some serious.
New one.
Okay.
go.
Yeah. Alright. Out of that troll drop. That's good.
Eh?
Okay, so. See, let's throw another.
I fear we've lost the anchor.
Yeah. This looks like we lost the anchor.
Let's go. Eh?
I have.
Let's go.
Yeah. Good God. Got some dank spores though. That's what you really want.
Brave does he lost dearly.
Yeah. Uh-oh, got some stuff going on with
Yeah.
the old stronghold grounds. How much longer do I have on this? I have, where is it? 2 hours. Not too bad.
Brave does he lost dearly.
It's a confusing time for him, yeah. Okay. Yep. Okay, so before we get too much further, yeah, we're gonna do that. Nice.
Yeah.
Brave does he lost dearly.
Yeah, this.
Let's go.
Hell. Oh yeah. Okay. Well, sure.
Yeah.
All right, the Bailey's done. Okay. Let's go. Now that the Bailey is completed. That's what I'm talking about. I gotta get that courtyard pool fixed up, man.
Yeah.
Alright, we're gonna do a little sneak and peek here. Okay. Yeah, okay, so that's a free pick for me. I'm gonna look down here first, though. Okay. Eorn, the small Orlan man, seems to have pulled together some crates and scraps of cloth to make a rather sorry-looking little camp. The thick fur on his limbs is matted, and his clothing smeared with blackening grime. He looks startled as you enter, his eyes widening in alarm.
Hail, traveler.
After a moment, however, he smiles weakly. Hello there. Wasn't expecting any visitors down in these parts. He glances around the dim room. What are you, doing down here? Yarn glances. I've been a little down on my luck lately. Didn't have anywhere to stay, so I thought I'd come down here. Nobody pokes around the catacombs much until, well, you anyway. Yeah, they're less dangerous places to live as a meager a life. You're hiding from something or someone. No one looks around the dingy chamber and nods slowly, expression pain. Yeah, I guess that's plain enough to see. Yorn sighs heavily. Very well, it's true. I've been hiding from the knights down here, but it isn't what you think. He ducks his head. It was an accident. It's been hard for me here in Defiance Bay. I suppose I thought if I got involved in the city's business, if I made the right friends, it would get easier in time. And it did, really. I made a name for myself, a place. People actually listen to me when I talk. Well, they used to. People can get very passionate about these things. We were discussing, I think it was shipping agreements, of all things to fight over. This one night, this man, he got very angry. I think maybe he'd had a little too much at the inn. Yorn pauses. And I guess he didn't like Anne Orlong talking back at him. I struck him. He came towards me and I hit him. And he went over like a tree. I guess he struck his head on the way down. Yorn lowers his gaze and shrugs helplessly. Turns out, he was a knight. Crucible Knights won't care how it happened. They just want me gone. They won't let me live long enough to see the rope. Please. He looks at you with a pleading expression. I just want to get out of the city. The second I can get money for passage, I won't trouble anyone again. I swear it. I'll leave quietly, but you can't, please, you can't tell them I'm here. I'm going to give him the money and tell him to get out of here. Eon stares at you in disbelief. But this is... His face twists. He struggles for words. They said you were a kind soul, but I wouldn't have imagined. This will see me out of the city and well away. I'm not sure I could ever thank you enough, but here, take this. I hope it's some use to you on your journey. You have my lasting gratitude, friend. I should get ready.
Huh? Right.
Smoldering fire strewn with the meager remains of a recent meal, fish bones, a molded rind of cheese, and a blackened bread crust. I guess some good lock pickings there. The wobbly little tent is barely standing. Queen that was and still is. Cool. Alright, let's see here. Peekaloo. Touch of Peekaloo. Oh yeah, here.
Yeah.
I can do that.
I've got it. Finished. Finished.
No problem. Let's
There we go. Oh, Skeletal Ranger, eh? The old Skeletal Ranger trick. That's a good
no
trick.
problem. Let's
Leave the sweet lever-loving bejesus out of this place.
let's go. Let's go.
Hey, you're not getting through me.
You know,
Following your lead.
Hey, leave it to me.
That's not very helpful.
Let's go.
there we go.
Let's go. Eh?
No. Alright. Huh. Alright, so this place.
Let's go.
Indeed. Okay.
Sure.
So what does this say? The viscous smell, foul-smelling sludge
Eh?
ebbs in the trench.
Let's go. Go.
Oh, bruises. Mississippi ooze. Time on the... Okay.
Eh?
Okay.
Huh?
Oh, hell. Skeletals. Yeah.
Eh? Let's
Yeah. Let's go.
That's it!
There we go. Okay.
Let's go.
Okay. Yeah, I thought that might work. Yeah, gotta get them wizards, man.
Yeah.
Okay, so this big antechamber here.
No problem.
Okay. Yeah, that's what I was trying to look out for.
Nice and slow.
For instance.
Worth a look.
Okay. It's strange, man. Okay, anyway.
Nice and slow.
Nice and slow.
Found something.
Hammer's discovered something. For Christ's sakes.
Huh?
I expected it to be one of the, yeah, well, that didn't work out, did it? Okay. The lone figure in tattered robes shuffles across the chamber, muttering under its breath. As you approach, the figure halts and swivels its head towards you. Its haggard visage is a labyrinth of wrinkles and sores overgrown by a moss-like beard. What's this? Who disturbs Helig's work? Its voice rattles and gurgles like that of a drowning man. What are you doing down here? Research. A hodgepodge of animancy and necromancy. I have peace and quiet as well as an abundant supply of subjects. But there's nothing else beyond your way. What are those creatures behind you? There's a few personal projects. Sorry souls stuck in their mortal shells. Their flesh is as dead as mine, though their minds are not as well maintained. They flock to me like worms to drakes. They're not half as intelligent, but he watches as one stumbles into a desk. They serve for amusement. Then go and thank your gods I'm not hungry. Dust and cobwebs have been swept aside. Various alchemical implements. They're coated with rust and grit. They look recently used. And scattered feverish notes to tell various animatic procedures and rites of necromancy. A grim assortment of rusty blades adorns this table. Well, that's something.
Sure.
Okay. Can't forget I got that. The temple entrance over there. That's a trap. Yeah, I knew it.
Poison.
I'll get over it. Okay. Okay. Yeah. Oh wow, okay. That's nice.
Keeping an eye out.
Okay, well,
Eh?
look at that.
Let's go!
That's it.
So, let's go down to the temple.
You must gather your party.
Okay, so that's nice. chance on unconscious is nice. So, and then we got, you know, this heavy brigandine, which it's kind of awesome looking. And for fancy gem, 16 deflection, -8 accuracy. 12 deflection. Okay, well, what I got there is okay. One hand, two sets. Okay, that's a better weapon. Did she not use it? There we go. There we go. That's a stiletto. Staff 16 to 22. That's pretty good. 26 to 35, or yeah, obviously his regular rifle's better. Heavy armor. Whatever. It's a robe, right? Yeah, where's that? There. Yeah. Ranger, yeah, okay. Huh. Yeah, that's alright. Okay. Whoa. In front of you looms the ghostly, hollow image of the man who was present at your awakening. He casts a pale, sickly light in the dank corridor as he regards you.
You are from Kratom, my boy.
His words are an echo in your mind from a time long past, so you know your response before you speak it, as if it had always been. Yes, I was born there.
A remarkable city. Truly one of the most impressive we have encountered outside of our own. Many exceptional people who have joined our cause come from Kratom. What made you decide to join our order?
I went through dark times. Nothing made sense. That all changed when your order came to my homeland.
Little makes sense in the false contexts much of the world has lived under for so long. It is by the mercy of the gods that our faith has been able to reach so many of the heathen in more recent times. Are you ready to take the oath? To spread the word of the gods to the lost and heathen?
I am.
Good day to you.
Oh. The mercenary looks at his feet. Please go on in. His eyes dart up to the rest of your party. You know the acolyte doesn't like guests. I'd keep any friends of yours out of the main chamber. Hey, Shuffle. She's already in a state on account of someone being late. No sense in provoking her further. Farewell.
Yeah.
You know, just in case.
Well met, friend.
A lone figure paces back and forth, tapping his fingers at his sides, muttering to himself. He jumps when he sees you, his hands on his chest. By the flame, you startled me. Shouldn't you be in the meeting, attendant? The acolyte's waiting for you. He claps his hand, his thumbs twitching. It's not time for the initiates meeting, is it? I'll be ready soon. Tell me about the meeting. This must be your first time. The acolyte communicates with each of us individually to hear our progress in old tasks and assign us new ones. He shivers with a mixture of pleasure and dread. It's a unique process. She's a cipher, so she can speak to you without words. Fascinating until you realize she can probably read your thoughts just as easily. What do you know about these tasks? He laughs nervously. Only what I absolutely need to. We protect the secrets of the gods, so discretion is essential. He waves a hand between the two of you. We receive our instructions from the acolyte, just as she receives hers from someone else, and so on, right up to the Grandmaster. Our role is to obey, knowing as little about the overall plan, and each other, as possible. How can you be confident you're doing the right thing when you know so little? He snorts. That's easy. The leaden key has been around for ages, by the blessing of the gods. You only have to look around to see the perils of trying to usurp divine power. Killing a god the saints war has cursed us all, and the heresy of animacy has only worsened matters. Try to replace a soul and you inevitably end up with a monster. So that's all been a warning. There are some powers we just shouldn't have. Tell me about these secrets. He jumps back. You shouldn't even be asking. Whatever they are, they're secrets for a reason. Our job is to guard them, not to know them. I see. We've been entrusted with important work. It's an honor, but not without its challenges. You need something else? I'll be ready for the initiates meeting soon. Honest. What are you doing here? He resumes his pacing. I've been practicing the past phases. I know them backwards and forwards, but I get so nervous every time I think about repeating them to the acolyte. He wrings his hands. You can practice on me? Okay. He ushers in a deep breath with fluttering hands. Here goes. First question. State your name and purpose. Answer. My name belongs to the gods and my hand to their service. Second question. What company do you seek? Answer. I seek the company of shadows, that our labors may remain secret. Third question. Tell me of your labors. Answer. To see that the craft of Kith and Wilder does not disturb what bones the gods have buried. Fourth question. How do you know your purpose? Answer. You shall know it by the confession of my tongue, the deeds of my hand, and the oath on my soul. Riddles upon riddles. What bones the gods have buried. It's very dramatic, isn't it? Oh, I'm sorry. Please continue. Fifth question. How is your oath guarded? Answered. It is sealed by the leaden key. He sighs with a nervous chuckle. That wasn't so hard. Sounds like you got it. I do, I think. I'm just going to practice a few more times by myself before the meeting. Goodbye.
I've got it. Finished.
What have we here? The book lies on the table. Its pages filled with some kind of an unintelligible cryptography. Not sure what happened there.
Back, ye clod! Those hooded fiends are nigh to be trusted!
It's nothing. I'm fine. This probably isn't the best place to linger anyhow. And continue into the chamber alone. Several shrouded figures are lined up across from a hooded woman. The figure at the head of the line approaches her, and the woman places her outstretched hand on the stranger's forehead. They stand in silent communion as you look on. A few minutes later, the stranger steps aside and resumes his place in the circle around the statue. The woman turns towards you. You are late, attendant. Even though her face is concealed, you sense her rage in her dangerously low voice, and in the sudden silence of the others in the chamber.
I've been waiting on your reports. Quickly now, state your name and purpose.
The woman beckons you closer with curling fingers. She rests her open hand on your forehead. You feel the heat from her palms through the thick material of your hood. Her voice is so low and soft that you're not certain whether she's speaking aloud or in your head.
What company do you seek? Tell me of your labors. How do we know your purpose? And how is your oath guarded? Welcome, attendant. Tell me of your exploits.
In your mind, you see a building magnificent with trellises and tiles and located on a pristine boulevard. The wealthy and learned stroll in and out, trading knowledge and coin.
Does he wait still?
Yet it also houses misery and madness. Somewhere within its rotten core sits a man, his hair matted, but his eyes alert. He watches and waits, a prisoner by choice.
Did they arrive?
The acolyte's vision takes you out of Defiance Bay into a town of the wilderness with a water mill. A signpost on one of the paths reads, Deerford. Several figures huddled together, shrouded in cloaks and hoods. Image of ruin suddenly looms in your mind. Two skeletal effigies flank a cleft in the mountainside.
Your information shall be relayed. Now, for your next task.
The ruins fade from your mind. In their place is a palimpsest of a neighborhood. Run-down estates are cobbled around a cemetery and an ancient tower. Savage shapes prowl the streets, and in the tower a man hunches over a strange mechanism. You can't see him clearly, but there's something unnatural about him.
Stop him. And above all, don't let him meet her.
You see a woman deathly pale with a scar over her heart. The acolyte shows you a door in the base of the tower, a seemingly impenetrable slab of stone and copper. Then she shows you the invisible split between the perfectly matched halves, and you understand how the copper veins convert a command into action. The command comes to your mind, a surprising familiarity about it. You know how to open the door. Have you any questions, attendant? Who are you? I am the acolyte. That is all you need to know. What is this place? This is what remains of the Temple of Waitica. The acolyte shows you a grand structure surrounded by the faithful. The fires of revolution destroyed everything above us and left the remains abandoned. Perfect for our purposes. Show me the prisoner. In your mind, you see a building reminiscent with trellises and tiles. Farewell. Key 10 horse podcast. So I don't know what to think, you know. Okay.
Laying low.
Now this I haven't seen before.
There we go. It looked like there was a fake.
Worth a look.
Oh, awesome.
Finished.
Amulets are most often gems. Medallions are let's see. Plus 2 intellect. Well, it's above 50. That's pretty good.
Eh? Eh?
A moment, please. I feel I should explain myself.
You alright?
Aye?
About my episode in the catacombs. There's something I should have told you earlier. So tell me now. He clasped his hands together, slowly massaging a knuckle with his thumb. I meant no harm. I thought I could keep it to myself. Perhaps when we resolve the matter of your soul, we would also address my problem.
I also have an awakened soul. But unlike yours, mine is a presence that shares my senses and my skin, making herself manifest at the most unwelcome times.
He closes his eyes and grits his teeth. His lips quiver and twitch with the vestiges of some internal debate. Several seconds later, he opens his eyes again. They're watery and bloodshot.
I'm sorry. I've tried to learn to control Isilmir. I've gotten stronger, but so has she.
Tell me about Isilmir.
Artless, uncouth, a creature of rash impulses and feeble faculties. She wags her impertinent tongue when she should listen. Aye, this one's fit to boil. Hard to get this gaff over anything tisn't to do with books and spell speak.
I have none of her memories. Barrett spared me that much. But her coarse manners and intolerable hill speak suggest a provincial from a very, very long time ago. She tends to surface a hair's breadth from conflict when the fuse is burned down and the teeth are on edge. When she shows up, she doesn't stop to gauge a situation. She just acts. She seems reckless. That's it exactly. You recall the way she'd go to those villagers in Gilded Vale? She doesn't think, and she doesn't back down. And trying to suppress that has been my problem.
I learned to keep her a secret a very long time ago. Those with awakened souls are shunned, mistrusted. And after your experience with Meerwald, I'm certain you can see why. You need to be careful.
Is this going to be a problem?
Merely an annoyance. Although,
He lowers his voice and clasps his hand behind his back. Minute twitches and spasms along his arms betray his fidgeting.
Defiance Bay is said to have an entire institution dedicated to the study and cure of soul-related ailments. Since our journeys have already brought us to the city, perhaps we could speak with someone there.
If it's helpful to you, we'll go.
Thank you. This has been a great burden.
Let's talk about something else. I'd like to know more about Islamir. When did she awaken? My father was a strict man. He expected the best from his only child. He didn't tolerate failure. His face becomes drawn. At times he could be rather adamant, particularly when he'd been drinking. Esselmere manifested on one such occasion. To be honest, I don't remember the specifics, only that he was more careful with me after that. You said that you'd learned to hide her a long time ago. My mother instructed me to keep her a secret after she first emerged. She feared that knowledge of my awakening would render me an outcast. Even though Islamir proved useful against my father, I trusted my mother's advice, and I've since come to see the wisdom behind it. Merveld is an extreme example, but one that I can relate to more and more each year. Could I talk directly to her? He gives you a taut frown. Her usurpations are uncomfortable enough. Not eager to invite her into my consciousness more than necessary. That's all.
Yeah?
Right. There we go. Chuckle vision. All right.
Yeah?
Hmm. Nine hours, eh? Hmm. The old goose and the fox. Hmm. All right.
Hail and well met.
Oh, some refreshments. Okay. Sure, I got a handful of things I can throw in. Get a little rested bonus there. You awake to see Durance, his staff held in both of his hands before him. A flame flickers at its top end, casting long shadows across his face as he stares in contemplation. Still, for all the light of the fire, your eyes can't focus on him. Perhaps it is awakening from sleep or a trick of light, but he seems indistinct, blurred around the edges, everything except for the staff. The staff? He seems to be studying its engravings. As you watch, the engravings grow thinly red, like through the cracks of heat-suffused wood. The line streams like molten metal, burning along the edges of his staff, then branch out in an intricate series of fiery veins, bunching thickly where his hands clutch the wood, pulsing as if a heartbeat. As you watch, the veins spiral into a dozen separate circles, circles that spiral again until they arrange in a circle of their own. They pulse, wait, and all is strangely silent, and then suddenly there's a great light from the fire, a rushing air, a great flash, and you awaken again to see Durance in the same place, still holding his staff, but he is solid, real. He doesn't seem to have noticed you, or react to what occurred. Thought I felt your eyes on me. Now come the words. I had questions I wanted to ask you.
If doubts and curiosity plague you, you're skidding your knuckles on the wrong door.
I saw something strange. You were sitting by the fire, and I saw a great light from your staff.
Tell me what you saw.
Durance is silent, staring at you, locking gazes. It was a flash like an explosion, a rushing of air, incredibly bright.
It is the light of the Godhammer you saw.
Durance takes in each word. He is strangely silent for a moment, and when he speaks, his voice is low. The Godhammer?
It was a weapon of Deerwood's people, a symbol of their independence. It saved the Deerwood.
What do you know about it?
It brought the Saints' War to an end, knocked a god from his perch. There are few that would deny Eothas overstepped. The Godhammer reminded Eothas of it. You saw its light because I helped shape it, give it life, and release it into the world. Once seen, its glory is almost too bright to be believed, and too bright to be forgotten.
You helped build the Godhammer?
There were 12 of us. We fashioned the weapon, drafted plans for it, prayed for guidance at Ashfall, and it came to me there. Each of us were given a staff made from the forest of black trees around us, glowing with embers and fire far greater than this branch you see now. It felt as if the staff was Margaren's own finger, guiding my hand, guiding the other 11, the shadows of the 12 who had come to stand on the bridge to stop Eothas.
Shadows of the 12?
Even in that stand, there was a ritual to it. For the 12 that stood on the bridge, there were a dozen shadows cast, a dozen faithful of Margaren, her fiercest supporters and shapers of the Godhammer.
Durance rests his staff in front of him, and the flame atop it curls for a moment, the light flaring slightly. It splits into a ring of flames, one after the other, until a dozen is met.
As 12 held Eothas fast, we 12 unleashed our prayers and let the Godhammer fall.
Then it blossoms brightly once and resumes its candle intensity. In the aftermath, the shadows seem sharper in the vicinity, as if they have edges, and you blink to clear the vision. Durance is still staring at the tiny candle-like flame intently.
Shadows cast by the fire of the Godhammer, perhaps. We shared their fate as well in time. Now the spine of the Deerwood is marked by the Godhammer, marked by Margaret.
Durance frowns and moves his gaze from the staff. What do you mean, shared their fate?
Not all deaths come with stilled breath and stilled heart, or other stilled passions beneath the waste. Some deaths come from silence. The connection we once shared with Margaren. After the light of the Godhammer, it was not the same. It was as if we'd lost our senses, and sense of purpose as well. Instead of victory, being welcomed, there was silence, within and without. Not many can claim to have killed a god. It is less a heroic tale than you would think. And such a death, it changed our faith. All faiths, I expect. Doubt followed, and the world changed. I do not believe Magrin was pleased by what we had done. The world is broken, the wheel stilled. There is sickness in the world's heart. Perhaps the price of crossing a god. Crossing two gods. Even as Magrin shaped our hands, perhaps we carried her will farther than was allowed. Just as Widewind did. Saint Widewind. Mortal arrogance to match mortal arrogance. Yet if the world had changed, then I sought to change with it. If I had forgotten some of Magrin's teachings, I would find them again. I would make her see me again.
What did you do?
I remembered Magrin's teachings. How reminders on the flesh were more important than the death of a vessel. And I wondered if killing Aethys, if that had simply set him free. Had it allowed him to escape his punishment and be taken on the wheel? Like a mortal?
He shakes his head.
As I stepped from the now blessed Godhammer Bridge, I thought of Ashfall. I thought of the War of Black Trees. Wondered if I needed to be burned to find myself again. That is Magrin at her heart. At least that is my hope. These are the doubts that befall me.
What happened when you returned to Ashfall?
The road to Ashfall is long. Gives one time to think. And if you think long enough, you do not go home. I left without telling anyone, with only the robes I wore at Halgot, my staff, and my name, which is long buried. Of my fellow 11 craftsmen, disciples, I know not what happened to them, if they suffered the same doubt as I did. But it was underserved. It was wrong. We had done all that, or had asked. Grab victory from defeat and
You feel as if your god has betrayed you.
there is something about being used and cast aside. Perhaps Widewen himself felt it. There at the end, when the hammer struck. To be the proof that your god is hollow as the vessel it inhabits. I tried to find purpose, and avoided all contact with other Magranic priests. Did not seek the walls of Ashfall, and sought to make amends to my god through actions. I joined with the Purges for a time, and not long after came the first signs of the Hollowborn. So many crimes, trespasses, violations. The Salvation. Animancers were another sickness born of the Saints' War. A relapse of innovation, of desperation to heal what we had caused. All seemed worse than before the bridge, not better. And as years passed, the world became even worse still for the victory.
It would seem Magrin's silence is your trial. Sweat collects in the sooty creases of his forehead and runs down his ruddy cheeks. It drips from the tip of his nose. His mouth moves, but his utterances make no sound. He is for once at a loss. Feeling your gaze, he quickly composes himself, wiping his forehead with the back of a dirty hand.
Huh? Worship the whims of some fickle bitch, and you'll never be more than dirt beneath her feet. Worship what she worships, on the other hand. Take her fire for your own, and her esteem comes on its own. Of course, by that time, you no longer need it. Trial and transformation, sure as Durance taught.
Durance glares at you, and staring into his eyes gives you the feeling of peering over the edge of a great cliff.
You think to put the coals to my feet, but what's burned once will never burn again. These talks are your trial, Watcher. You cannot deflect the truth to one who has already been purified by it.
Tell me what happened on the bridge. We chose the bridge because we could control it. Durance's hands tightens at the top of his staff, as holding it by the neck. It was a place where we could choke Eothas in his own footsteps, where we knew his feet would fall, a narrow neck of stone. It was more than that. It was a spine of the deerwood, symbolic of its backbone. Such symbols are important in the construction of a weapon. Durance studies the staff, his eyes traveling along the etchings. Any weapon. Durance's face hardens and his eyes burn, his eyebrows narrowing. I suspect Eothas knew that as well, and so did his vessel, in its arrogance. His hand tightened on the staff. He intended to walk upon the bridge as if walking on the backs of the deer would, and we intended to burn him with the light of our faith and his. 12 on the bridge, 12 in the shadow, and gave ourselves to it. Gave yourselves to it?
We put much of ourselves into the Godhammer. Such a device is not simply a machine. There are elements of the spirit in it. Even Widewind's spirit.
Widewind? Why?
We all studied Widewind. He was our enemy, and he had provided the flesh the god wore as a cloak. That flesh made him vulnerable. I knew what fields his hands had tilled, his family, what he had harvested, where he had been born. We sought to know him, what had led him to fight us.
Why was that important?
You don't kill the god. You kill the man it inhabits. And you leave that man a ruin. Burn him to ash. The weapon was meant to not only burn his flesh, but it would burn his soul. And it did. At the cost of our own. And at the cost of our goddess's favor. That whore be damned.
Is that why your image was blurred in the dream? Nurse frowns, glances at you with a sharp look. Perhaps your eyes were blinded by the Godhammer's light, Watcher. He snorts. I may feel half a man at times, but even that is twice that of most others.
If you fear for my spirit, your fears are baseless. The Godhammer, seeing its light, only fueled my anger and made me stronger, made me re-examine the teachings of Margren, put them in a new light.
It looked as if there was only part of you, as if your spirit had been sheared in half.
I do not need you to cast any more questions on me, Watcher. Nor did I ask you to look upon me without my leave. Get gone, and leave me be.
Yay. Alright.
No problem.
I think I'm going to call it there tonight, everybody. Go ahead and throw a save on it. And thank you for joining us. And I will be back to play again pretty soon. We'll get through this.